Hello everyone and welcome to this video lecture series in which we are talking about neural networks and deep learning. So until in the previous video lecture, what we have seen that we were explicitly using for loops during our programming for designing programs of neural networks and deep learning. But I have often told you that whenever we use for loops in our programming, then these for loops when explicitly used create a very difficult program. Also, it takes a lot of computation power for any CPU or GPU to run that code. And as far as neural networks and deep learning or machine learning algorithm is concerned, then we have a very huge amount of data set with us, and it is really very difficult task to compute these operation using for loops explicitly. So what we are going to see in this video lecture is that I am going to prove you that how vectorized operation are more convenient to use than the non-vectorized operation. Okay, so until in the previous video lecture we have only seen about the theory as we how can we implement the vectorized implementation in the neural networks. But in this video lecture, what we are going to do, we are going to have a brief recap of what we have studied in the previous video lecture, and then we are going to write some code and see that what is exactly the time difference when we use the vectorization versus the time difference when we use the non-vectorization operation. So let us continue this lecture. Okay, so what is vectorization? So for understanding vectorization, what we have is we have an output equation as Z equals to W transpose X plus B. Okay, so we have this output equation. Okay, and what are W, X and B? W is basically belongs to a real number and it is a nx dimension vector. And if W is an nx dimension vector, then B X is also an nx dimension vector of real numbers, and B is a base value of this output, so this belongs to the real number. Okay, so this is already clear to us as we have studied this several times in the previous video lectures. Also what we can see here is so while talking about W and X, so basically W is a kind of a vector. Okay, this is a kind of a vector W, and this would be a kind of a vector X, and both W and X have the same dimension of nx as we have already seen. Now let us look at what are the vectorized and non-vectorized operation that can be performed on this equation Z. Okay, so firstly let's take a look at the non-vectorized operation. Okay, so firstly we are going to have a look at non-vectorized operation. So what we can see, what we can take the initial value of Z as 0. This is clear to us because we need to take some initial value, otherwise the garbage value would be stored in Z. Okay, so that's why we are taking initial value of Z as 0, and we are explicitly applying for loop here because remember we are talking about non-vectorized operation, so we are explicitly applying for loop. It is for I in range nx. Okay, because ultimately our vector is an nx dimension vector, so we need to iterate our loop to nx dimensions. Okay, and then what we are going to do, we need to have the calculation W transpose X. Okay, so for each calculation we could write as Z plus equal to Wi into Xi. Okay, so this would be our computation. And this for loop will what this for loop will do, this for loop will calculate iteratively over the for loop, and it will calculate the sum of all the values of W transpose X in the whole data set. And ultimately after getting the value of W transpose X, I'll add this value to the base value B. So after getting the result of this for loop, I'll add the value of B to Z. Okay, so this is the non-vectorized operation that we could perform using this equation. Now let us see in same equation as how we can implement this equation using the non-vectorized using the vectorized operation. Okay, Okay, so in this section, in this column, I'll be writing the code for vectorized operation. So the code for vectorized operation is quite simple and it can be easily implemented in Python using the NumPy library in Python. It can be written as Z equal to NP. Also, one thing to mention here is that we are taking the short form of NumPy as NP. So whenever you will write code in the above, you'll write a statement as import NumPy as NP, and then you'll write NP whenever you need to write NumPy. Okay, so NP dot, there's a function dot in the NumPy library. Okay, and you need to only mention the two vectors that you need to have the dot product of. So one of my vector is W and another vector is X. And further in the next line, I can add the value of B to this Z, or one thing I can do is I can add the value of B here only. Okay, so firstly what it will do, it will do the dot product of this W and X, and then it will add the value of this W and X dot product to this base value B. Okay, so this np dot W comma X will give us the value of W transpose X, and then we are adding B to it. Okay, so I think this much is all clear to the ones who are studying through this video lecture. Now we'll open a Jupyter notebook and we are going to see the code for vectorized as well as non-vectorized implementations also. Okay, so let me open that window for you. Okay, so this is our code in the Jupyter notebook. Okay, what you can do is you can basically install the Anaconda software, and inside the Anaconda you can get the Jupyter notebook for you. So using this Jupyter notebook, we can write the code in Python, and we can use the libraries like NumPy and Pandas very efficiently using the Jupyter notebooks. Okay, so I have already written the code for you so that this video would not take much longer time in order to be explained. Okay, and I can mainly focus on explaining you the statements rather than writing the code. So this is the reason that I have written the code already for you. Okay, so now let us see the first block. So what we have done is we have imported the NumPy library in the first statement as import NumPy as NP, and then we have been creating an array A. So what is the function of for creating an array? We have np.array as a function that is used to create an array in NumPy, and we are inputting the values as 1, 2, 3, and 4 in this array A, and then we have a print statement. So print A will print this array. So now I'll click this run button. So this block will basically run for you. Okay, so now we have this array A as 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is basically the technique we are using in order to create the array in Python using the NumPy library. Okay, so now let us jump to the concept of vectorization and non-vectorization. So now what we will do, I'll show here that how vectorized operation are much more efficient than the non-vectorized operation. Okay, so what we will do firstly is we will import a library, that is the time library. Okay, this time library has already been mentioned in the Python packages. So we'll import the time library, and now what we will do, we will, instead of making two vectors, that is W and what we have used in the lecture as W and X, instead of this we will make two vectors as A and B. Okay, so that doesn't make much confusion to us. So first vector is A and the second vector is B. Okay, and we will assign some random numbers to these vectors because we need to make very large vectors, and we cannot explicitly write all these vectors. That would take a very long time. Okay, so what we have done is we have randomly assigned numbers to these vectors A and B. So A equal to np dot random dot rand, and what we have done is we have provided dimensions inside the bracket. So this is 10 lakh, or what even called as a 1 million. So this has 1 million dimensions, and 1 million random numbers would be inputted to this vector. Okay, and also we have B as np dot random dot rand, and we have applied 1 million dimensions, and we have also applied random numbers to this vector b also. Now what we are going to do is, firstly we are going to see the vectorized version. How we are going to do is, we are going to start our clock, or we are going to set a start time. Okay, then start time would be the variable, and time dot time would be the function that would be used to store the value of start time into the variable start time. Okay, and further what we are going to do is, we are going to implement a new variable c that would basically store the dot product of these two vectors a and b. Okay, since we are using the vectorized operation here, so we would be using the ready-made function as np dot dot in bracket a comma b, because ultimately a comma b, a and b are the two vectors on which we need to perform the dot product. So we would write these a comma b inside the bracket, and then we would explicitly mention the end time of the calculation as end underscore time equal to time dot time in bracket. So this would store the end time of how much time is being done to compute this dot product using the vectorized operation. Further, what we are going to do, we are going to print the value of c, and then we are going to print the time that is used to perform the vectorized operation or the vectorized version, and we are going to display this time in milliseconds. So I have written this print statement for you. Now, again, we have already used the value of C. So this has some already stored value in the C. So we need to empty this value. So we are again going to initialize C with 0. And then what we are going to do is, we are explicitly going to use the for loops in the non-vectorized operation. And then we are going to calculate the time that is being used to perform the calculation in non-vectorized version. And further, what we are going to see is, we are going to compare the time that is used in vectorized version as well as in the non-vectorized version. So here also we have the start time as time dot time for I in range. Now we have the 1 million dimension vector, so we have the range till 1 million. Okay, so the for loop will also go to 1 million only. Okay, so for I in range 1 million, what we have, we would increment the value of c, and we have the notations as a of I into b of I. So we'll multiply this and we'll add these to the value of c. And after this for loop has calculated the value, or the dot product of a and b, then we are going to put the end time as end time equal to time dot time, and then also we are going to print the value of c. Now you can see here that here also I have printed the value of c, and here also I have printed the value of c. So this value of c is basically that is written above in this code, is basically the value of c that is computed using the dot product, or the function, already ready-made function that has been given to us in Python. Okay, and this dot product, this c that is written below, is the computation that we have gone through using the for loop explicitly. Okay, so ultimately what we need to do, we are going to have a proof that both the values of c are equal, and we are not doing any partiality in this. Okay, so now what we need to do is, again, I need to edit somewhat this code. What I need to do is, I need to print the value of the time in the non-vectorized operation also. Okay, so now I think this code is very much clear to you. Now I'll run this code for you. So I'll click this run button. Okay, so now you can see here that this is the value of c in the vectorized operation that has been mentioned above, and this is the value of c in the non-vectorized operation. Okay, so you can see that the value of c in the vectorized and the non-vectorized version is quite the same enough as 2498222 point something something, and the same it is in the below. Also you can see that the time that has taken for computation in the vectorized version is somewhat 2.994 millisecond, and for non-vectorized operation it is 921.677 millisecond. So you can see a vast difference between the vectorized operation as well as the non-vectorized operation, and this I have already told you earlier, but now we have seen in the proof by coding that vectorized and non-vectorized operation, uh, there is a very vast difference between the calculation and the time required for these calculations. Okay, so I will often insist you to generally use the vectorized operation for performing all your calculation in neural networks and deep learning, because you have already seen in the proof that vectorized operation takes very much less time in computation. Okay, and now if you again want the proof, I can run several times these blocks for you. So again, I'll run this block. So what I have is 5.98 millisecond for vectorized operation and 1151.5.457 millisecond for the non-vectorized operation. Again, if I'll run this block, then what I have 16 millisecond and somewhat 1113.46 millisecond for non-vectorized operation. So you can see here that the time that is used for vectorized operation is very much less than the non-vectorized operation. And here suppose we are having a vector a and b that is of 1 million dimension, but in reality when you will go over to the real time data set, then you will get data set that have very much big dimension than as compared to this data set. Okay, so this is a very quite a very simple example in order to explain you that the vectorized operation are very much efficient than the non-vectorized operation. Okay, so now we'll again go through our slides. Okay, so now one thing to notice here is that we have perform these vectorized or and the non-vectorized operation using our CPU only. That is, we are not using some external GPUs for calculating and applying these vectorized operation, because people often say that vectorized operation can only be performed using the GPUs, because what these vectorized operations are basically are these vectorized operation generally perform the parallelized calculations. Okay, or parallel computing or the parallel computing. So what are these commands called as? These commands are called as SIMDs. And what is the full form of SIMD? Is it is single instruction multiple. Okay, so this is SIMD, or the single instruction multiple data. Okay, this is single instruction multiple data. So these SIMD operation can be effectively performed using GPUs as well as CPUs only, but people often say that GPUs are much more proficient in applying those SIMD instructions. So people often use GPUs for performing calculations over very large and huge data sets. Okay, so this much in this video lecture. I hope this lecture would have been very much informative to you. Thanks for watching this video lecture. uh, any of your friends who are working in this field of neural networks and deep learning, so I request you to share these video lectures with them also. Don't forget to like my video lectures, subscribe to my channel, so as soon as a new video lecture is uploaded, it would be forwarded to you in the form of a notification, and you can quickly view that video lecture. Thank you so much.